Hey everyone, Ment Morris here. Welcome to the live stream tonight, taking a look at some of my favorite country records um, in support of my new course release, Music Theory for the Country Guitarist. This course is designed for the country guitarist who's looking to expand his knowledge or her knowledge of the fretboard. It's relating the gauge system to pentatonic positions all over the neck and how those pentatonics and cage relate to double stops and how we can begin using all of those ingredients to formulate and construct simple classic country intros, outros, and turnarounds and beginning to kind of approximate some solos. So the course is broken into 5 sections, looking at cage in relation to dominant chords, dominant seventh chords, and the pentatonics that accompany them, as well as suspensions and double stops that you can find all throughout the classic country style of guitar and kind of the emulation of the steel guitar. So, over the next few live streams, what I plan to do is take a look at a few of my favorite country records, share some with y'all. Maybe you know them, maybe they'll be new to you, and look at a few things that I've learned from them. So, tonight, what I would like to start off with is a record by Johnny Paycheck, an old record called Jukebox Charlie. Now, this one is a huge influence to me. And if you haven't heard it, please check out the link below in the chat, and then I'll put it in the description at the end and it will have the link to the full record there that you can listen to on YouTube. So Lloyd Green is the steel guitarist in this, and to me, Lloyd Green sounds like he should be playing guitar. He's playing a lot of great kind of guitar licks, or maybe it might be better said, a bunch of guitarists now kind of sound like Lloyd Green because they stole all of his licks that he originally did on the steel guitar. So all of it is pentatonic based with some great kind of bending and kind of chicken picking added into it from a guitar standpoint. But it fits so nicely into what we're doing with the pentatonics and the cage system and looking at these intros. So I'm going to demonstrate an approximation of his intro on Motel Time again. This is the first tune off this record and kind of show you how it relates to the chord positions and how it relates to the pentatonics and what he's doing there. Maybe you can learn a lick or two and then move on from there. So this we're going to be in the key of E for this and kind of get it. And we're going to be largely functioning out of our E chord E shape here. And then we're going to be moving down into our E chord G shape here. And then our E chord C shape, and then E chord E shape down at the octave. And this style of intro works over 1511. So that's in the key of E, that's a bar of E, a bar of B, then 2 bars of E. Or it could work over a 5511 or a 5551, which I believe is the case in the original recording. So this one's going to sound like this. Okay, so what we have here is we're playing the 1 and the 2 of E, right? We're playing E, F sharp, G sharp, and then we're just kind of bending up the F sharp as a little half bend and giving it a lot of wild vibrato and then releasing it. So we have this release down. Then we're going to do the same thing on the same frets. This time we're going to bend the C sharp up to the D and then release down to the B on the second string. Right? Kind of frantic vibrato there. So we have. Now we're going to move down positions to our E chord G shape right here, the top part of it, and play just the octave lower of the first lick we did. So we have. Then we're going to go down another octave and play the C sharp to B like we did in the higher part and release. So we're just using 2 licks and just moving them down in octaves. And in doing that, we're covering this chord shape here, the E chord shape, the G chord shape, and the C chord shape. All right. And what we want to do, especially with these kinds of kind of bright sounding intros, chicken picking style, we want to stay on the first 3 strings to get that brightness. So you have okay. And then I'm going to come up and play a steel style bend, right? So we have now in the G position. I'm going to bend up and then release it. So a lot of the time you'll hear him do like these rakes, right? He'll take to emulate it, you take the pick and scrape it from the high string down to the 3rd string. And kind of give it a tug and then release it. And then I'm using my pick and finger. That's really the only time I've chicken picked or alternate pick so far in this. So slowly I have. And then I'm going to finish off with the really nice signature lick of his going. So what's happening here is we're playing C sharp and B. And I am using my middle to get that really extra snap. And then frantic bend on that F sharp and vibrato down to the E. And that's a lick that's a really useful one to know in a few octaves. You could do it right here. Excuse me. Right there. So you have the C sharp and B. Right? And this is kind of out of your E chord D shape there. And that's something, if you listen to that record, he's going to put it on a lot of the stops going into a next section. Like when the band actually stops, he'll do that. So he'll play. Sometimes he'll have those kind of double hits there. So working through this, we have. Right? Now what you could do is move this up, this kind of steel bend up a minor 3rd, and you can get kind of a slightly more kind of bluesy sound, right? Where you're going and resolve on our E there. So you might go. Right? Kind of some blues stuff in there. You could kind of try and get down there and play the exact lick there. You might go. Okay, so that's going to be the first lick there. Now, to kind of talk a little bit about some double stops, what we can do is a lick that he uses on the intro to Touch My Heart. And this is a great one because it's a lot of single notes and it's working through a few positions, but he puts in some tricky things here. So what he's going to do is going to play, I'm going to do it in the key of A. It's a 55-11 with a suspended sound in the middle of it. So we're going to go. Okay, so we're just working up from our E chord here, and we're going E, F sharp, G, G sharp. So we're working from this E to this E. So we have, and just chromatically connecting it down. Back down to the E, down to the C sharp, B, and instead of resolving to the A there, I'm going to resolve to this D chord and resolve then to the A. So it's like a suspended A. So slowly. And some kind of variation moving up. So I'm resolving to the A chord here, right? I have my D suspended, my A suspended. So I have this A, and then I've got my D, and then I have my F sharp, and then I'm going to resolve it down to the A, and then play my top A double stop, then up into these next A double stops here. where I'm working through my A chord C shape and A chord A shape. All right. So a few ways to kind of make that a little more fancy. So I added kind of a little slide in the middle of it, but then when I got to this suspended, I did a different type of suspension. I took the F sharp off, released it down to the E, right? That's the 9 if we're thinking about a D, and then resolve to the A there. And then I have my A. So one more time now with some double stops. And moving on down. So you can kind of just mix and match, right? We have the double stops here, the 6th, E and G sharp, F sharp and A, chromatic up, and then G sharp and B. So I would recommend going and listening to that record, and you'll hear these licks just kind of repeat themselves all over the place. It's Lloyd Green's vocabulary, and it's such a good one to start to get under your fingers. What we'll do in the next few lessons is take a look at some more of my favorite records and try and steal some of those ideas and fit them into this cage system positioning that I've been teaching in this latest course. If you're interested in the course, I highly recommend checking it out. You can preview the first section as well as a preview of the entire course, and the link is in the description below. I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.